Education is what other people do to you, whereas learning is what you do to yourself. Another principle I like is disobedience over compliance. You never get a Nobel Prize for doing what you're told. You actually come up with new ideas by questioning authority and thinking for yourself. Another one I like is compasses over maps. For me, having a compass heading and then sort of figuring it out as you go along in many cases is very important. But the world is so complex and so changing that you don't really know exactly what's going to happen when you get there. And the cost of making the plan or the map often exceeds the cost of just trying things. Another one I'll mention is pull over push. So it's pulling things from the network when you need them, rather than stalking and planning and preparing and then centrally controlling it. So it's the difference between centralized control, top-down control, versus much more bottom-up or innovation on the edges. Some of the most important developments, Yahoo, Facebook, Google, were started with no money by students. Now, these were students in privileged communities, but it's now getting to where internet is accessible in more and more places. At the base of the pyramid, in some of these regions, they have needs that you can't imagine or you don't have in other places. So, for instance, very low-cost phones you'll find being manufactured in Shenzhen, being used in the favelas in Rio, as well as Tahrir Square in Egypt. And there's this new sphere of both innovation and supply chain being created in economies that are very different. They would never design those products in the United States. They can't. They don't understand what the local needs are, what the local supply chain is, and things like that. What we're trying to do is take that innovation that these pirates are developing, because they're ignoring intellectual property but coming up with some amazing things. This bottom of the pyramid is now able to connect to this sort of global, I would call it the sort of open conspiracy of interesting people trying to work together. And so I think it's a very collaborative thing. And so in that sense, it's not this top-down thing where we're trying to come and solve their problems. We are learning so much that I think it also has to be very much a peer-to-peer relationship.